Are we live, Steven? We are live. What's going on, Simos? How you doing, brother?
Good morning, my friend. I don't recognize your name. Your name is Fitigu Media.
Is it Fitigu Media? Well, that's we're all over the place today, buddy. We are sitting in South Etobicoke slash, I guess it's almost downtown Toronto here as well, shooting a lot of content for people. For anyone who's wondering what Fitigu stands for, we want it to be cool and be cool for the kids and have an abbreviation. And so it stands for From the Ground Up. We're shooting a lot of content for myself, for CMOs, and a lot of other real estate agents and mortgage brokers. But we call it From the Ground Up for a reason. Just like you and I, CMOs, we built REC Canada the right way, from the ground up. And we always tell our clients and our investors that the right way to invest into real estate is to do it from the ground up, brick by brick. And you do that with starting off with educational content that you and I get to do once a month, every Saturday. And for the people that are emailing us and texting us and asking, why is it only once a month? Just some housekeeping notes. First and foremost, it's once a month that you get to see Simos and I together live here on YouTube. But don't forget that every other Saturday, you get to see the beautiful Tyler Tai Walburn, where he sits down with real clients of ours that are in the process of investing. And so he'll be back up and running. He was off for a couple of weeks. A big shout out to I don't know, Simos, do we give the shout out to Tyler or do we give the shout out to Cass? I think it should be Cass. She did all the hard work for welcoming, and we want to make sure that we welcome his new baby daughter, and to Nora as well. He was off for a couple of weeks, but he'll be back up and running. But how's your week and month been so far, Simos?
I'll quickly start off by saying good morning to all our REC insiders coast to coast. We missed you. We did go to once a month for me and Jazz, and we are bringing on the new generation because I think that's very important in grooming and developing our team and promoting to be brave and to be bold and to get in front of people. Tyler has been on the phones helping our REC insiders for almost 8 years. That's a long time, and he's learned so much. He's a completely different person at this point, where he's now educating, he's coaching, and all those things. So for him to be able to bring a real person, a real story to the forefront once a month, where we rotate every 2 weeks. There's going to be Tyler. 2 weeks later, it's going to be us, where we bring kind of the bottom line to the market and our interpretation to the market. I think it's important. And I do think we've had great feedback from our insiders, loving what Tyler is doing. So we're going to keep that up. And of course, we ask all of you to pipe in and definitely tune in to Ty's segment.
Because, and Simos, I mean, really quickly to add, brother, if you are watching right now, and we know, I'm starting to see all the messages come in right now. People are coming on and telling us where they're signing in from. If you want to have a segment with Tyler, just send us a quick email, guys. And you don't need to be all formal. Throw it in the subject line, info@reccanada.com. Let us know and say, hey, we would love to share our story. How cool would it be if we had to even take Tyler's segment once a month that he's doing, and we bring on, like, we have 4 separate people that want to share their stories. I mean, I've been doing a podcast for a very long time. You have your own podcast now as well. And I think it's fair to say the most watched and the most listened ones, with all the names that we've had, the CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies, still till this day, our most watched and most listened to episodes are the ones where someone like a Sue Murphy went from 0 to 11 properties in 2 to 2.5 years. It's a lot easier for all of us to relate to a Sue Murphy than it would be, I don't know, like a Grant Cardone or like a Patrick Bet-David, or someone who owns these multi-billion-dollar companies. So if you're watching and you want to, and Tyler makes it very easy, so don't worry about, I know you might, I'm camera shy, don't worry about all that stuff. Tyler's just going to have a conversation and help you share your successes and your failures. I mean, Simos, you and I are so blessed that we get to go to so many investor meetups. We get to go to business meetups. would you not agree with me, brother, that the investor meetups are one of the best because like nobody holds their best information to their chest. You know, like when we go to the business ones, it's like they don't want to tell Jazz and Simos about some of their successes because they think we might steal it or something. But with investors, I mean, from day one, everyone's like, well, make sure you work with this broker or don't do this type of deal because we hit our heads against the wall so many times, right? Like, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
Well, I think I don't think it's all over. I think we're very lucky, and the Canadian investor marketplace has evolved with education. So I think 10 years ago, when we first really infiltrated those real estate meetups, and we really got into that community, it was a very different community than it is today. I think people being more educated than ever has a lot to do with them willing to share their challenges and their successes, because everybody knows that the market is so big. It's just so big where you don't need to hold your cards close to your chest, because the more people that are winning, the more people are going to help you win. So collaboration and cohesion bring more deals and more successes than you secretly on your own trying to do due diligence. Hey man, help me out. Run through my numbers. Am I missing something? That's what we're seeing out there.
And what do we always say, right? Like there's enough pies to go around. If we run out of pies, we'll find ways to bake more. You can tell both Jazz and Simos like pies. So it's very, very simple. Send us an email. info@reccanada.com, and let's start really sharing. This is the reason. And like, you know, the passion is going to start to come out from both of us, because when we started doing these webinars, and obviously pre-COVID, it was in-person events, and we're going to start those up again as well. But to our friends that can't make to our in-person events, we'll always be live streaming them. So right across the world, you can make sure that you tune in. But one of the main reasons was, like we like the camera. You guys can tell. Sometimes we like the sound of our own voices. You can tell that, I'm sure. But the main reason was because we wanted Tina to share her successes with Art, and Art share his successes with Joanne. Like, we really want to build that community here, and you're all part of the REC Nation. I mean, you and I would probably do this if no one was watching, but it's so much more exciting when we know our family and our friends, and you know, we used to call them clients, but they all become family and friends to us now. And so please send that email. Let's get 3-4 people on with Tyler to discuss some of those successes and failures. But brother, I mean, I gotta say, one of my favorite brunches to do is when breaking news happens, especially when the government comes out with the budget, and the housing discussion is probably the most talked about in this budget. Do you want to start there today? You want to go with stats? Both of us have the hot stats on our table. Where do you want to go?
The federal budget drop. I mean, we were interviewed for Bloomberg. The interview went viral across the globe. We've been tagged on some of the biggest YouTube stories, and it's no coincidence, because Canada is making headlines right now all over the world for how expensive the housing market has gone, and in what trajectory, the speed. So in the last 2.5 years, we've seen the Canadian market, I'm not talking about the GTA, I'm talking nationally, go up almost 50%. And there's obviously many reasons for that, but I can assure every single listener on this show right now, and all future listeners of this show, that it's not speculation that's driving this market. It's world instability. It is inflation. It is all the things that make people worry. However, Canada is a safe haven. Canada is stable, safe, peaceful, beautiful, with lots of water, with lots of land, with places that you can go to when you're locked down, with all the things that the rest of the world, not everybody has. So there is, when we talk about 400,000 people a year coming into the country, that target was not lost during COVID. Qualified people came to this country and are looking for housing.
Yeah, it's different from like when my parents came here in 1973, 1974, right? I mean, it's that old immigrant story. They came here. My father came here with $5, $7, $8 in his pocket. I mean, now some of the people that are coming here, I mean, they're coming. They've sold everything back home, right? Even when my parents came here, they weren't sure if they were going to settle in Canada. They've still kept some land back in India. But now what a lot of people are doing is they're selling off all their real estate wherever it is, and bringing that money in to our country, right? And so that's why you have people who are coming here, and 50% of people that come into the country, they come into the GTA. 50% of those people that come into the GTA are buying. Like, they're you have the 50%, the other 50% either rent or live with families. And as investors, I think we get to win both ways, right? You have a lot of people coming in, they want to buy real estate, but you still have 50% of people that want to rent, and as investors, our customers are the tenants. And so it's always good to know that, look, what was it, March 2020 we got into lockdown, and then by about April over to May, we started to hear about how much money the government was going to start to pump in for people, for businesses, and then you had the CERB. Look, I mean, you might agree or disagree if you're watching right now with how the government handled certain things, but at the end of the day, there was no one who was. Let me rephrase. Maybe I won't say no one, but the majority of people were still eating. We didn't have lineups. We didn't have lineups for bread like people thought
or empty shelves.
We didn't have empty shelves. I mean, maybe there was toilet paper that got empty here and there. But other than at Costco. But other than that, I mean, our country, once again, just like it happened back in 2008, 2009, everyone looked at us and said, how did you guys protect yourself from this world financial crisis back in 08, 09? We once again looked pretty good in front of the rest of the world because we took care of our people. And I'm looking at a room right now, and I mean, it really is the First Nations in this room right now. I mean, like everyone here is from their parents are from somewhere else. So it's just amazing to see the amount of people that are coming here. And yes, they are coming with money. But let's talk about the federal budget and the $4 billion, man.
Yeah,
that's important.
So just to that point, I'm just going to touch on a few things. So first and foremost, I put in our private chat the link to the article. If Stephen or somebody from the team can just share into the comments so our viewers can take a look at it. It was the Bloomberg article that was put out as it happened. But I have pulled up my screen and I can speak to the points. So I'm on the Government of Canada website, and it's the Making Housing More Affordable, Department of Finance. And basically what they've done is they've really just put a few key points that the feds believe are going to actually help. And I'm just going to cover them in a very quick format. Anybody that wants to take a look at them, I'm going to share that link as well. So if the team there can share both the article and then the link to the actual Fed's website where they can take a look at what we're talking about, because it's important for these things for you as an investor to know. So who's coming out of the because we're going to interpret as to what this means as an investor. So the very first thing that the government is hitting is they're going to try to help the first-time home buyer get into a home. So Budget 2022 proposes to introduce the tax-free first home savings account that would give you the ability to save up to $40,000. Used to be $25,000. So like an RSP contribution would be tax deductibles. When you're a first-time home buyer, you just have to prove it, of course, and it can grow with your equity as opposed to paying tax on it, and then it's harder to save that money. So for a first-time home buyer, they are making it easier. It may not seem so significant in the GTA because of our price point, but rest assured, outside the GTA, where homes are not as crazy priced as they are here, where you can get a home for $500,000-$600,000. Well, $40,000 is almost 10%, 7%. So it does give someone a break to put gross dollars that they earn into an account and get there a little bit faster and a little bit easier.
Look, I mean, I think anytime you can have a tax break, that's a good thing, right? And when it's focused towards first-time home buyers, I think that's very, very important to curb some of the noise that's happening in terms of affordability in the major cities. But with the fact that the number is now 40,000, I think that's actually it could have even went a little bit more aggressive on that personally. But at the end of the day, at least first-time home buyers know that they can put some money away and not get taxed on it.
That's right. Next point is something that we've been asking for a very long time. It's the New Housing Accelerator Fund. They earmarked $4 billion to incentivize to give an incentive to builders, developers, purpose-built rental to invest in urban housing, to invest in a per door incentive, meaning you put together a 200 unit apartment building, you're going to get X amount of dollars, as opposed to selling them as condominiums to individuals, where it's going to promote rent instead of escalating 25% a year, kind of stabilizing and not growing so fast.
Now,
So,
go ahead, Simos. No, you go, buddy. Go.
Just the lack of supply is what's driving the insanity, and anybody can say whatever they want, but that's fundamentally what it is. And we're going to speak to our local stats, and we're going to speak to some, because we are seeing some bumps in the road right now. We're seeing showing slow down. We have a lot of data because we're a big brokerage. So we're going to speak to those things. But overall, overarching, because this is a high level conversation, the market is on fire still. Year over year, we're 20% above where we were last year, even with less transactions. Pricing has not been touched. The integrity of the market stands still because of the lack of supply. So the government is trying to hit that.
Now it is going to be. I want to go back to the cutting of the red tape, right? I mean, I'm very curious to see how they're actually going to do that, and that's something that you and I obviously need to keep our finger on the pulse on, in terms of how are they going to get more supply? How are they going to cut that red tape? Because as we know in the GTA, and I'll speak only to the GTA in the sense, because I'm not sure how it works in Vancouver specific to this stat, but it takes, from application for a building to be built, it takes 10 years, right? Here in the GTA, where if you look at a place like Manhattan, they're doing that in 3 years. And Manhattan's a lot more difficult. You taking pictures of me while we're shooting this, brother? I like
just
that.
Just picture of you, bro, because you're so
good
looking. I want to share it to the world.
Well, you should share it to the world. You should share it to the world. I like when you take pictures and then you smile. That means obviously I look really good in it, right?
It's so cute.
Seamless. It's 10:30 in the morning here, buddy. In terms of like in Manhattan, the fact that they can do that in 3 years and be on an island and board up an area and that it takes 10 years here, it's been mind-boggling to me. I'm glad that they're finally talking about it, and not only talking about it, but putting this money towards it. How are they actually going to do it is what I'm very interested in seeing. Can we go from 10 years to, can we go down to 7? Can we go down to like 6? And then at least have more supply that will obviously bring the value down.
The key there, Jazzy, is to literally rezone major areas. So basically, you're going to get from 10 to 3 years. Nobody said the building permits are too slow, even though it is too slow. And I was at an event a week ago. It was a PC party roundtable about housing. Ministers,
go Dougie.
Go Dougie. So the premier was there. Minister Clark was there. Tim, our good friend Tim Hudak was there. In the round table, it was a very intimate setting. There was maybe like 30 of us. So we all got to speak and interact. It wasn't like a big fundraiser where you don't see anyone and it's nonsense. It was a housing round table. And what they're trying what Doug is trying to eliminate is that big carousel. He calls it a carousel. Developer puts in the plans, goes on the carousel. All the departments look at it. Then the fire department looks at it. Back to the carousel. Everybody looks at it. It's completely inefficient and broken. So what he's trying to do is to say, okay, so we need to intensify density around the subway. We need to intensify density around the lake, or whatever the case may be. He wants to take these areas, put a boundary around them, and say, here you can build up to 100 doors an acre, 500 doors an acre, whatever the case may be. So you don't have to fight for that, because that takes the 5 years. All the studies, every single time is like a new time. Why is that? Why, like in the court of law, when there's precedent, if you steal a coffee and you get 1 year in prison, everybody else who steals a coffee gets 1 year in prison. So if one person gets density and somebody next door wants to get density, they have to start all over again. For what reason?
But I think it's quite simple, right? The reason, not that I know neither one of us agree, is because then it starts the whole process of everyone getting paid within that process, right? So like now everyone
has to end.
Right. And I think that's the definition of the red tape that we were talking about, right? It's just that everyone needs to kind of have their hands in the pocket. But I completely agree with you. It's like Brampton for me, right? Like Brampton is such an amazing place when it comes to like basement apartments, like homes are built, like you can get like back splits and side splits, which allow you to have like 3 doors in that semi-detached, even most of the time, like a single family home, you can get 3 units, but man, it takes forever. But the guy next door got it. Why can't I get it now? Right. And so I think that will help, obviously, with rents as well. Like, I mean, the fact that
will help a lot. So,
right?
So as far as getting that new supply in, getting that red tape, there's a lot of people working really hard to make things better. And I do believe that. Because I see it and I've talked about it and I know what's happening, but it's still a process. People still have to get reelected to get it through, or else if Doug Ford loses the election in June, boom, from scratch again, new ideas, new things, and all the things, and that's why change doesn't happen. So I personally am hoping that this specific government continues in power right now, only for the sake of housing, because it is the biggest component of it all right now. So many people are affected negatively because of it. So I do want to see change. I'd never speak politics on an open forum like this or throw my support behind something, but I'm speaking specifically not to the candidate or the party or its belief system, but specifically to the agenda of housing. I do believe that this specific party needs continuity. So what I'm hoping to see when I cast my ballot is that there is continuity on all other social issues. I have massive differences of opinion with this party, but on housing specifically, which is the burning, it's literally people are house poor because of it. I do want to see these changes happen and density come in.
Let's talk about another a tax credit that is going to be offered to people through this budget now. So we have a new multi-generational home renovation tax credit of up to $7,500. And I just want to make sure I've got this properly. It's for constructing a secondary suite for a senior or an adult with a disability, beginning with 2023 taxation. So I think that's important as well. Another tax credit, but you also be able to help someone that needs it from a senior's perspective or an adult with a disability. Another one that we didn't cover is assignment sales. This is something that we deal with a lot on CMOS. Do you have your points over there? You want to touch on that, brother?
You go ahead. I have 2 points on 2 different points that I want to make. You cover assignments, please.
Assignment sales. You need to make sure that when you're purchasing a property, you need to make sure that you're in that property for a year. There actually was a task force put out not too long ago from this government as well, about 2 years ago, that they're trying to make sure that they want to curb flippers, right? I mean, it kind of fits into our story anyways about
Sorry, are you speaking to flips or assignments of condos?
I'm talking about flips.
Oh, sorry. I definitely have commentary to that, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm talking about flips, right? Where they want to obviously curb flippers, which I think, look, I know you can make a lot of money doing it, but at the end of the day, I think we've always said that the best way to create wealth in real estate is by buying and holding. But what's your thoughts on that?
My thought, the biggest change with home flipping is that it's going to be 100% not capital gain, but earned income. So you're going to get taxed on it like income, and that is as it should. So although it's bad news to many investors, and many of you might look at me and say, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you saying that? I'm saying that because if you're earning your living by flipping homes, that's a business. That's not real estate investing. And I've said this on this show for the last 5 years. Don't confuse house flipping with real estate investing. Just because you're using real estate to generate your business and your income, don't confuse it with investment, because the fundamentals of house flipping are speculative, meaning that you buy a home today and are on a clock. The minute that you close, pop, you start the clock. And every single action and reaction in the market, in your process, in your funding, in your financing, matters for your profit. So you're not using the fundamentals of housing. You are speculating that the needs and your process, the way you do your renovation, the way you add value to a home, is going to be what earns your keep. And you're also exiting. So you're not investing, you are timing the market as opposed to putting time in the market. So you are timing the market for a calculated exit, and that is a business. So as a business, you should be paying income tax. And I like the fact that they're doing this, because they're going to put half of the flippers out of the scene and actually allow either long-term investors or end users to get those homes. So I am all for it personally.
And I think 100%, buddy. I mean, that's going to be one way that you're going to have people eating up some of that inventory that's going to come on the market. And I mean, there's obviously a pattern on what we're talking about today. It's all about, and it's always been about, supply and demand. Go to your next one.
And let me just make something clear to everyone. I'm passionate about this, but I'm also passionate about your success. As a flipper, congratulations. I want you to flip homes. I want to see more homes renovated and be beautiful and go onto the market. The other thing that I'm passionate about is, if that's your business, pay your fair share of tax. Don't get you can't get a capital gain and not pay your share of tax as a business. That's all I'm getting at. I love home flipping. I'm building something up north right now. But if I choose to sell it the next day and not keep it for my family, I should pay the tax that is due. That's all I'm getting at. So,
you're not even flipping. You're not going to be flipping that one. You'll probably hold on to it and rent it out.
I'm going to Airbnb. It's going to be a short-term rental.
There you go.
And used by the family for sure. But again, on Airbnb, I'm paying income, like earned tax, income tax, not capital gains. So I'm not looking for loopholes. Do what's right. If you're going to make money off the housing market, no problem. Just pay your tax like everyone else, so we can put that money to affordable housing, so we can make society better. That's what it's all about to me.
Okay, buddy, you want to go jump into the stats?
Just one more thing that I think is important and creates a very big opportunity for the investor community is the supporting rent-to-own projects. This is something that is I never saw coming from the federal government. This isn't Ontario. This is the Fed. And the Fed is putting a total of $200 million in support. $100 million is going to go directly to nonprofit co-ops, developers, and rent-to-own companies existing that are building new rent-to-own communities. What does that mean? That means that if I want to put a building together or a little townhouse site of 30 townhouses, and I choose to do a rent-to-own program, which means I can give the end user the opportunity to come in with 10 grand down instead of 100. The government is going to fund my project. I'm going to get creative financing. I'm going to get incentives. So this is going to give birth to opportunity for the investor community. I am personally going to start investigating it. I would assume within the next 3 to 6 months, we may have all the details coming down, because remember, this is a budget. This isn't policy. It hasn't passed. But over the next 3 to 6 months, we are definitely going to be watching it. And if we do see opportunity, maybe we can put some JVs together. We can do all sorts of stuff. But
there's obviously one other point that we need to cover is the ban for 2 years on foreign buyers purchasing property in the country. This one, again, is definitely making headlines. But I gotta say, I looked back when this came out and I did some quick calculations. We've helped a little over 1,000 families personally, like outside of our 54 agents. So I just wanted to talk because I wasn't able to get that data yet from the rest of our team. But the 1,000 clients that we've been able to help in the last few years, not one of them, Simos, not one person was buying from outside of Canada. I went one step further and spoke to our broker as well, and he did a quick calculation. We have 1,300 agents, and in the last 2 years, there was only about 40 to 50 deals in combined total that was actually bought from investors outside of Canada. So I think this is going to make the headlines. It's a great headline. And a great, maybe a great ban, I guess, which will, yes, open up properties for people that are here, but don't get it mistaken. Like, there's not a lot of foreign buyers buying in specifically the GTA. You know what happens generally? People drive by a sales office and they hear someone speaking Punjabi, they hear someone speaking Greek, they hear someone speaking Dutch, they hear someone speaking, Persian. And they think that they're all from outside of the country. Well, they're from Brampton and the Danforth and wherever a lot of Dutch people are from. And you know what I mean? Like, there's not people buying from outside of the country. In fact, I think the actual number, which came out 2 years ago, pre-COVID, was like 1% to 2%. Right? So again, it's going to be interesting to see if this opens up some supply, but there is really not a lot of foreign investments happening in the GTA. Now, again, I don't want to speak to, for example, like Vancouver, which is a little closer to, say, Hong Kong money coming in and stuff like that. But here in Toronto, you just don't see a lot of it. But let's see if this now opens up some more properties for the people that are here in the GTA.
It's crazy.
Well, I'm surprised you had nothing on that. I gave you the Danforth. I gave you Greek. I gave you everything. I tied that one together.
I have everything on the ban as far as foreign buyers are concerned. That's exactly what the article on Bloomberg was about. So I just literally shared it into the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
So everyone has it.
Perfect. Take a look at it, dissect it, send us an email if you need more clarification. Guys, I can't say this enough. I cannot say this enough. You can tell. Look at your screens right now. We know what we're talking about when it comes to real estate, but we're not that formal. I got a hoodie on. Simos has a t-shirt on. Send the email. Put everything in the subject line. You don't need to give us a full length conversation in email. Just put it in the email. Hey guys, can one of your team members give us a call? Hey guys, I need more clarification on this. It's info@reccanada.com. Mr. Stephen Rochester, if you could do me a favor and throw that up on the screen so nobody misses it. If you're new to our community, by the way, and you're new to the REC Nation and you have no idea who the heck we are, welcome to you. And if you're watching the recording, thank you. We know thousands of you watch the recording as you're busy on Saturdays. I also want to make sure that you send that email to info@reccanada.com so you always get our market updates, our current opportunities, and all the other content that we put out. I never really got a chance to say it earlier. Guys, flirt around on our personal stuff. I have a podcast that I've been doing for over 3 years. Search my name in YouTube. And then also search not Simos's first and last name. I want you to search Broker's Playbook. There's a playlist in YouTube where he is only speaking directly to investors. The other one, he's speaking to real estate agents. But go check out that playlist. Go to Jazz Tacker on YouTube.
I think the best place, Jazz, if they go either Facebook or Instagram and just find us, they'll see all the content relates and they can click through.
And look, it really does help, guys. Press the subscribe button right now. If you're not subscribed to this channel at REC Canada, I know both our mothers love when people press subscribe. Let's go into the stats, brother. We got another 15, 20 minutes, guys. We will, as always, take a couple of questions as well. Throw the questions up. See, Stephen here is manning the ones and twos. He'll make sure that he throws the questions up and we'll take a look at it. You want to go GTA high level, Steve, Simos, or you want to go into the Torontos, Mississaugas, Bramptons, Oakvilles kind of thing?
We can. Let me see something. Does Stephen have the digital files?
No, I don't think so.
Am I able to? Anyways, you know what? I'll just speak to it.
And 1 second. Sorry, I apologize again. just put it in the email, info@reccanduct.com, and say, just literally put stats. We have your email address because you emailed us. Put in stats. We will get to you in the next, like, literally 36 to 48 hours and give everyone copies of all the stats that we'll be speaking about. Maybe we'll just start high-level GTA.
100%. And the reason, guys, that we come on the second Saturday of every month is not a coincidence. It's strategic, where we can actually, the stats always come out in the first few days of the month, but the interpretation needs digging. So what we're going to talk about today is not fresh out of the oven. That was last week. But the interpretation and how these stats impacted the market the last week is what we're actually looking for. So what do the news do to the market? What do the stats coming out do to the market? How do brokers react? How do investors react? How does the market react? And by looking at the GTA market stats, Jazz, what I want you to hit off with is the total sales. Total sales of 10,955. It sounds like a lot, but is that up or down?
Well, right now we're down by 30%. I think that number was, right?
30%.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is no surprise there in terms of what that correlates to, meaning that values have still gone up, right? I mean, and you mentioned it at the start, but the exact number for all of Greater Toronto area, which is, I think it's safe to say, right, Simos, it's probably like Hamilton over to Bowman Village, and then you go kind of north over to Aurora, probably, and right down to the lake, right? And so that's also, keep in mind, that's also taking all home types, condos, townhomes, semi-detached, detached homes. So you're taking everything into account. The values have gone up by 23% at what the average home right now in the GTA is, call it 1.3 million. And that's obviously something that we haven't said before, but I always look at months of inventory, brother. Talk about that, because to me, and I just put up a video like 57 seconds before we started.
I was just going to say, you just put up a wicked video this morning.
Yeah.
I saw it right before the brunch. And this is, you know what, I'll come back on this again. Definitely make sure that you're on our channels across social media, because we consistently put out appropriate messages that are for the times, because we follow real estate so deeply and we always know the questions that were asked. So Jazz covered this morning a quick video on what the most important stat is.
It's always the months of inventory,
because that will tell you instantly if you're in a buyer or seller's market and what the absorption looks like. So when a home goes up and it gets swallowed up in 2 seconds flat, that means there is tremendous amount of buyers and the market is in the favor of the seller. It's just that simple. So if you were to go drop you any place on this beautiful earth, all you have to ask is, give me your months of inventory, and you'll be able to immediately get your bearings and start honing down on what your strategy would be when you look at real estate.
Yeah. Now, we were in a super intense seller's market for the last, I would say, a year and a half to 2 years, call it a year and a half, because the first 5 months or so, maybe even 6 months or so, we were at first 5 or 6 months of 2020 post lockdown. I got to remember now, right? Like, it was probably slightly more of a balanced market, still a seller's market, but the last year and a half has been the most intense seller's market we've ever seen. How do we know that? Because months of inventory was really, actually, you couldn't even call it months of inventory anymore. You had to call it weeks of inventory, and in some areas, like days of inventory, right? We were less than 2 weeks. Like, it was hovering right around 2 weeks of inventory. So if no one had put their property on sale based on the previous month's sales, there was only 2 weeks of inventory on the market. Now we're at a month's of inventory minus 2 days or 3 days. But what does that tell us? We're still in a very hot seller's market. However, it's not as intense as it's been, which gives us buyers purchasers, investors, a little bit more to play with. Are you going to find a property at 75 cents on the dollar? No. You might not even find a property at 90 cents on the dollar. You might find one at 94 to 95 because you're not going to have as many buyers looking at the properties, actually like physically going out and seeing the property, which then decreases the amount of offers on the property. Now, if you're somebody who's thinking about flipping, and when you went through your rant, for lack of a better word, on flip, brother, you're bang on, right? Because like you can't, like, you need to make sure that you squeeze every dollar out of a deal. But if you're a buy and hold investor, you pick something up at 97 cents on the dollar, screw it. You pick up something that's the same price as it was, 2 months ago. The fact that you're not competing against others, that's your in now. That's how you get in. As long as you're going to buy and hold, you know that the values are gonna actually move up.
And Art Raposo it was just highlighted on the screen. His point, remember, he says house flipping is very different than the BURR strategy, which is the buy, renovate, refinance, and repeat. And that is super, super important to remember, because the BURR strategy is actually the backbone of the economy in progress. Meaning you're a buyer, you're helping the economy by improving the home, you're helping the city in the aesthetic, in modernization of the home by supporting the economy across. You're refinancing, so you get the benefit of wholesome financing, and you're keeping the property, which creates long-term investment into the economy, and you're supplying housing to tenants. Hopefully you were able to add doors where you're bringing down the cost of rent across multiple people, and you're benefiting as an investor by profiting of all of this good that you're putting in the world.
Simos, you just cut out on my end? Were you just explaining kind of BURR? I just want to make sure that's what you.
Yes, I was.
Keep going.
I was explaining that because Art made a point that flipping is very different than BURR, and I was speaking to that. And I don't know if our people can give us feedback. Did everybody hear what I said? Was it
no, that was just on my end, brother. Continue.
So no, I'm done with it. All I'm trying to get at is the BURR strategy is the fundamentals of real estate at every level. It is our biggest belief system. I believe and I hope to see everyone complete to have their own home, and of course be able to do at least one BURR in their lives, because that means that you are not only a homeowner, you also help somebody else get there, and you profited by helping the world, not by taking away.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think someone like yourself and a lot of people that are watching can actually handle a BURR, right? Because they've maybe done a couple of properties. Because the renovations aspect to a BURR is something that you need to be very, very aware of. But with that said, looking at possibly a turnkey investment, why don't you touch on that as well, Simos, because you're on fire today, brother. So like, talk about the difference when it's a turnkey investment.
Well, sure. A turnkey investment is convenient, guys. It's if you're looking to invest in real estate and you have a monster renovation ahead of you, that's a daunting task to many. It might excite me. It might excite you. But
it doesn't excite me. It doesn't,
no,
right?
It
that's
definitely
why I really
doesn't
want.
excite you.
Yeah. So really,
and this is the key point. So to others, it's actually the biggest deterrent to real estate as an investment to most people is the fact that A, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the time, and they don't have the actual interest. So if I am a school teacher, what the hell do I know about hammers and nails? And why would I want to put myself through the anxiety, the risk of making a mess out of it? Enter the opportunity to the flipper. This is where the flipper comes in, guys, where he buys the old home. She does the renovation. She sells it to the market, to the turnkey investor who's going to take now a unit that is completely fixed. And for the next 10 years, they're going to benefit from the beautiful pay down of the mortgage by a tenant, the market appreciating because it's healthy, and participating in the housing market without having to do the work. So yes, you're going to pay more than the person that's going to do the work themselves, but you will benefit the same in the long term without having to do all that work.
I said that you're the one who's heating up. Obviously, it's me who's heating up because the screen's telling me that my internal temperature is too hot and I got to cool down. So we're going to switch it up and go old school. As the team knows that I don't really have a laptop, but luckily the crew around me does.
I think you're just as good looking, Jazz. Trust me.
It doesn't matter if it's a $30,000 camera, a $10,000 camera, or a $300 laptop. We're gonna make it work. So look, I think it was very important that we went over that, Simos, because we need to know, and people need to understand that when you're getting into the world of investing, there's lots and lots of ways to do it. You don't have to do it just the way that the way that you might see it on TV and think it's as easy as our good-looking friend Scott McGilvery makes it look like as well, right? He has a lot of experience. This guy's been doing this for years on years. He has not one crew, 7 crews. He probably has 15 crews now lined up. And so going down a turnkey route, like for someone like myself, I don't mind paying a little bit more to allow me to sleep well at night, knowing that the only thing that I need to focus on, which is my strength, is providing customer service to the tenant, right? Like my strength is not going in and picking up the hammers and figuring out what we need to do when it comes to picking out flooring and all that kind of stuff, right? My strength lies in, hey, let me find out ways that I can keep this tenant happy and continuing to stay here. I can work numbers really well and figure out, okay, do I need to at this point increase the rent, or maybe I just let it bypass because the tenant's been amazing and paying me on time and not ruining my place, right? So know who you are, be very, very self-aware of what type of investment you want to get involved in.
I think it's also absolutely crucial to remember that it's not everything is about profit in maximizing every penny, to me. So my message to the world is, remember that you're dealing with fellow citizens, your fellow man or woman. Remember that everything we do is obviously for benefit to ourselves, but it's also nice to be able to do what you can, your social responsibility, when you're using a commodity that is required by people to profit. Remember that comes with some responsibility. And this is not the same message I believed when I was 25 years old. So as we develop and as we grow and as our world becomes more complex, my message to the world is to bring some social responsibility to your investing, whether it's investing in greener technologies, whether it's investing in affordable housing, whether it's hiring a crew that wouldn't otherwise be hired because it's a minority. There is so many social issues that you can address by becoming a real estate investor. There is so much difference you can make every day. So put that into your portfolio as a founding principle, as trying to become better as a society. It takes actions of one every single day. One action after another creates a real difference. So that's my message for social responsibility in investing, because I take that very seriously today.
And as we speak about the GTA market as a whole and the stats, and we'll kind of stay here. And what I mean by that is that instead of going into every single market, what I strongly advise everyone to do is just quickly send that email to info@reccanada.com, and then we'll send over all the specific stats, because I think the other one that we need to speak about as a whole in GTA, CMOS, is the condos, right? I mean, that is probably T minus maybe 5-6 years ago has become the new first time home buyer purchase, right? No longer are we as first time home buyers seeing people wanting to move to the suburbs necessarily for the white picket fence and a big backyard. What we're seeing is hey, I wanna buy because of my lifestyle and my work, and my work my friends, my play, my like where I want to maybe go, like start a business is in like the more urban parts of say downtown Toronto, and like even where I am right now, South Etobicoke. Like I mean, I'm driving down today and I'm just seeing a massive amount of cranes, guys. Like the Toronto GTA market is number 2 in the world with the amount of cranes that is in the sky. And for anybody who's new to our world, I mean, the reason for that is that like we are built on a real estate island. You can't build to the south of us because of the lake. And then on the northern part, we got this greenbelt legislation. It's a complete landlock. And so builders and developers can't build out this way. Hence why they build upwards. And average sale price for a condo right now is at 808,000, and I smile as I say it. Seems we've been doing this for 17 years. We're coming up to 2 decades. I remember average sale price at 225, 250,000 for condos, and people are like, who the heck is going to live in these shoe boxes, right? Like who needs who oh, you can't go to a backyard and I can't barbecue. Like what the heck is these whole things, right? And now
our first condo,
yeah,
the first condo that me and you bought together was
now that's cute. That's cute. You know why? Because you said our first condo. Like you took me back.
It's like a first kiss almost.
We didn't live in the condo together or anything. We just got to make sure. Like I'm just saying it, right? But that's cute. It was our first condo. How much did we buy that for? What is it worth now?
If I'm not, it's either $289 or $299. I actually still have the APS somewhere in my Google Drives. Yeah. I believe it was $289, and it was River City 2.
And we just refinanced it, and the value came in at like upwards of 680, 690, something like that. 690, right? And so look, I mean, and the reason is, right? I mean, and we have a lot of staff, our support staff, and they're all like south of 30, majority of them. And if you think about it, none of these guys, you know, out of all of them, I think one of them has a car, right? They all transit into work. Okay. They have no dreams about getting a car. You and I at 16, we slept at the DMV the night before. You know what I'm saying? To get our license. None of these guys and gals even dream about having a car. Why? Because Uber's a lot more convenient. I'm going to bike it. I'm going to skateboard, do my thing, right? Why is all that stuff important? Because you got to get into their mindset. You know that they want to be close to where their friends are and where their lifestyle is going to be. They're not looking to live in the suburbs, and you're not going to be purchasing a home at $1.3 million as a first-time home buyer, right? And so here's another strategy. When you're thinking about investing, I hear it all the time. How can a 24, 25-year-old afford a property in Toronto? Yeah, he's not going to be able to, or she's not going to be able to buy that $1.3 million home on the resale market, where they need to come up with 20%. Even though you're not an investor, once it's north of $1 million, you're putting down 20%. What do? You possibly look at a pre-construction condo. Why? Because it's not going to be built out for 3 years. And the builder says, well, because it's not going to be built out for 3 years, let me help you with your down payment of 20%. You can pay that out in 3 years. It's probably one of the most common, as I said, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, it's probably the most common strategy that younger investors are using right now. Younger people who are thinking about investing are using right now, because it's a forced savings plan.
Yep.
See, once you have to put down that 20% and you look at a BMW, and because your friends bought that BMW, or they bought a Rollie, or they got some new J's and all that kind of stuff, you put that to the side now, because you got to come up with the 5% down, right? So just another strategy.
And just to give everybody a quick interpretation, a Rollie is a Rolex. The J's are Michael Jordan shoes.
Yeah, right.
But these are all the jargon, and these items are a Rollie is $30,000, $40,000, and you don't be surprised when you see them on the wrists of young ones, because they idolize lifestyle as opposed to fundamentals of economics. And for somebody that's making, let's call it $25 an hour, for you to be walking around in $600 mint J's that are special edition. I mean, again, I'm not here to judge anyone, but those are the lifestyle choices that are going to make or break what your entire life looks like.
And brother, like we have a lot of people, like a lot of our clients have kids who are 22, 24 years old, right? And they're worried. They're worried about like how are our kids gonna afford a place? Well, I just gave you a strategy, and you want to keep your kids away from spending money on dumb stuff. The best way to do that, in my opinion, is lock them into a property where they have to make the down payment, because humans are really cool like that. When our back's up against the wall, we generally find ways to figure it out. There's a bunch of stuff that's coming in here. Why don't we address some stuff? Does the new assignment clause apply to a pre-construction condo that was reserved but never owned? Let me just go talk about that. Clear. I'm actually going to read about the assignment stuff.
So it's only because you said assignment when we talked about house flipping, Jazz, that created confusion, because even I was confused. Let me be super, super clear. What Jazz was referring to earlier was the inclusion of making house flipping income tax, not capital gains. When you're talking about pre-construction assignments, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago even, if you're flipping your condo in pre-construction in Ontario right now, it's law that your lawyer that's doing the paperwork for the flip has to report it to Revenue Canada. The reason is everybody was flipping, it was lawlessness, and people were taking 50, 60, 100, 200,000 in profit in cash straight to your account. Nobody paying tax on it. They caught on to it. They passed legislation quickly, making it law for the lawyers to submit every assignment of every condominium without a tax roll number, meaning it's not registered yet, to Revenue Canada, and that way they control it. Now, who is excluded from that? If you bought it legitimately for yourself, so I bought myself a pre-con condo, and I went through a divorce, I lost my job, somebody died, I am ill, I got into an accident, anything that's real, life altering, that affects my ability to close on the said unit, I can assign it, and any profit would be a capital gain. But if I do not fall under the category of life events that are excluded from it, you will pay income tax on your assignment of your condominium. So be cautious. That was not new. That is not new today. They're just bringing more into that category.
Yeah, because as you were saying that, I was like, yeah, there's really no difference in how it is. And I do apologize for the confusion, because I did mention about the task force, and the task force wasn't for flippers. It was actually for people who were assigning, right? So I do apologize for the confusion there. Look, I mean, you and I get asked to sell some of our condos, personal condos, in assignments, and we do the same thing every single time. We go to the bar, we have a drink to calm the nerves, because the numbers look really sexy, right? I mean, somebody's offering us $150,000, $175,000, $225,000, and that we need to make a decision, right? And so we like to calm our nerves a little bit, and 100% of the time, because I thought that through, because I wanted to make sure in case somebody called me out on it, we've never sold it in an assignment, you and I. We've always said, for what? Because we're going to end up closing on it and refinancing the thing. We'll pull out 80 cents on the dollar, fingers crossed, if we get everything works out, even if it's at 65, 70 cents on the dollar, but I still hold on to the equity. I apologize. I still hold on to the property, right? And so some of our clients, we probably help about, safe to say, I mean, Ty's here as well. I noticed him in the comments. I think we probably help about 40 to 50 of our clients a year with like being the assignor, the one who's selling it, and the assignee, the person who's picking it up. But you come into our world. How many people have called us, right? Simos and Ty, you'll probably even be laughing as you watch this, and they come in and they send us an email. I want to assign my condo. And then they get on the phone with one of us too, or Tyler. And we're like, for what? What do you need the money for? I need
but I'm going to make 100,000. You're not going to make 100,000. You're going to make 200,000 by keeping it.
Well, and then it's going to get to 500,000 the longer you hold on to it. Now, I mean, the reason we were lobbying for this hard as well, to get the assignment clause in there, because life happens, right? Sure. And so when that happens and you need it, find like super duper financial hardship or some issues come up in your life, that's different. That's understandable. So there's that. There's not actually any more really burning questions that I see people are mentioning. I mean, we again, another Saturday, we're fortunate enough to have been having 70, 80, 85, 90 people on today back and forth. It's kind of really cool that we get to do this. But was there another stat or something that you wanted to cover, Simos?
There isn't, my man. I think we can get on with our Saturdays, and I'm talking to everyone. I don't know what to tell you, man. I think there's been lots of big news the last couple weeks. If anybody in our amazing audience has questions, remember info@reccanada.com. That is 100% monitored by our concierge desk and our coaches, which is Tyler and his team. You're going to get answers in 2 seconds flat. So shoot an email. Within 24 hours, you're going to get everything you need. If you need, again, book a REIP, a real estate portfolio analysis. If you need anything at all, just reach out. We're never too busy. We're never too late. That is our actual business. So as we do this, we have a team of 50 agents on the ground, as most of you know, that are out there right now. Like this morning, up until we got on this call, I went through 6 of our agents that are on their way to listings. This is what's happening, etc. Like we're on the street every day, all day, and we help all our clients with whatever it is they need, whether it's they're selling their homes, getting their investment properties. Remember, give us a call, connect with Tyler. He gets assigned through the process, and when I say we, I mean Jazz and I personally look at every single transaction that ever goes through our firm. There's not a single one that we don't see.
Yeah, it's. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that just brought something up to me this past week. I had a client text me and say, Jazz, I'm not sure if you know, but I just finished doing a deal and with one of your agents, Sumit. And I replied back right away. I was like, there's nothing that happens in my organization that I don't know.
Never.
Sorry, to everyone, I mean, like, you might think we're really, really busy, which we are, but we're never too busy. And this is not just a play on words or trying to just give you lip service. I mean, this is what we've done for 17 years. We are so lucky to have a community of like-minded people, like every one of you who are part of the REC Nation. We now have a community of 11,162 people. I get the daily number from Tyler. We're at 11,162 people. But you know what? At one point, it was 11 people. And you telling a friend that tells a friend, that is your fee. You like what you heard today, you kind of like our style, please tell a friend. Share this with a colleague. Let someone know if there was value. I see James, my boy James Rakundo. You're up to some really cool things, guys. Go make sure that you go follow James on his Facebook. I know he's getting out and speaking more and doing events and building out an investor community himself. Remember, we told you the pie's like big enough, right? So everyone, like, go check out James. But before you finish, like, turning off your computers or your mobiles or your TVs, I don't know where you're watching us today, please do us the favor that we ask. Subscribe to this channel that you're on. Hop over to YouTube and search Investors Playbook. I apologize. You're going to put in Brokers Playbook. Stay on YouTube and go to Jazz Takar. Subscribe to all three. Take another 32 seconds. Go to Instagram. Search Jazz Takar 13. Press follow. Search Simeon Papailias. Press follow. Search our VP, Laura Stewart TO, press follow, because you don't know who you're going to connect with. You might like the good-looking Indian guy, or you might like the good-looking bald Greek guy, or you might like our fashionista Laura, and then go please, like, you are part of our community. We do our short form content. I mean, you can tell we go for an hour. Simos and I could go 7 hours easily on this platform if we felt like it. But if you want the short form content, the minute, the 32-second kind of hits of valuable content, the place to go is Instagram. And if you're a TikToker, I promise you, I don't dance on my TikTok videos, but go to TikTok and search us as well. We're there, and we do a lot of content.
Like the content that's every day is kind of like you're following real estate. And you follow whatever you like as an audience. Like you're going to get sick of our faces anyways. It's surprising that you haven't gotten sick of us already. but really and truly, all we try to do every day is kind of share the path and the story, the events that we go to, the content that we create, the worries that are on people's mind. What we actually put out there in content is we're addressing your questions. When I get a DM that says, you know, I'm worried sick about this, what should I do? Well, I take away your name and I make a video, because you're not the only person with that problem.
It's actually reflective of 10,000 people. There's a study been done on that.
You know what I mean?
Okay? There's a study that just got done on it, okay? When someone asks a question that is reflective of 10,000 people thinking the same question, but they were just scared to ask it. You know why? Because they didn't want to feel like they were dumb. So the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask.
So with that said, Jazzy, I think that was a great point. Definitely look us up. Give us a follow. We typically follow all our people back, and we'll be watching what you're up to, and we can connect and chat and whatever we need to do. Last but not least, I think it's very important for our entire audience to see my new tattoo. Hi.
When'd you get that?
There's a whole lot of angels in there.
When did you get that?
Last week. It's healing.
Simo says that new tattoo, guys. I'm gonna say have an amazing, awesome Saturday. Please reach out, as a lot of you do, but some of you don't, and enjoy some time with at least yourself if you don't get around to seeing family and friends, because real estate investing is by far one of the best investments, but the best investment is the one that you do, the one that you make in yourself. So please spend some time with yourself. Wake up in the morning and be grateful for everything that we have. Because if you're watching this right now, you got really not a lot to complain about. I love you. Simos, do your sign off, and we're going to rock this weekend away.
Coast to coast, REC Nation, we love you. Be well, and we'll see you in about 30 days right here. You will always get the emails. You'll always get the notice. And hopefully, we tried so hard. I'm hoping to have the Minister of Housing, Stephen Clark, come on Brunch. He was able to confirm a podcast for brokers because he's never available on demand, like to get him on a Saturday on a live. But I'm going to try to, and if I cannot get him on the live, Jazz, we are going to shoot. Maybe, you know what? This is my last ask. Shoot us some questions for Housing Minister Stephen Clark, because if we cannot get him on the live, we're going to interview him just like we do now, and we'll get it out to you for you to watch. There's nothing more important than in housing policy that impacts us as investors. So if you have the time, shoot us some questions, because I definitely have confirmed him in for a podcast, but not for the live. I can't get him on the live. It's hard.
Simo said, you'll see us in a month, but do not forget, in 2 weeks, you're going to see the beautiful Tyler Ty Walburn with a real client. And right now it's one client that he's going to be speaking about. So don't forget what I said when we got started here. Make sure that if you just want to share, and you don't need to go 30 minutes with Tyler, okay? You don't need to go even 20 minutes. If you want to keep a segment down to 6.5 minutes, we know how to do that. Don't worry. Just come, give your one nugget, give the one mistake you want people to stay away from, whatever it may be. Come on, let's share this. Share the successes and failures, because we're just going to be better investors for it. I'm out, bro. I got to go.
Bye, guys. Everybody be good.
Bye.
Blessings. Bye-bye.